Lots of comments on this week's release announcement, so let's talk about it in this week's Ham Radio Deluxe video newsletter. I'm Mike, Whiskey Alpha 9, Papa India Echo with Ham Radio Deluxe. If you find this video useful, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell. Okay, so I sent out a release announcement last night about the latest release, which is the 18068 release of version 6.9. And that must have generated some excitement, or at least some questions, because we've got a few of them today, and I just want to cover them off here. The announcement says, essentially, is that this new version is available, and it talks about two things. I want to just take a moment to talk about why these two things are important, because I think my point might have been missed. First thing is we're using a tool called Sentry to collect errors or crashes or things like that from the software. That's not just Logbook, but it's all the applications in the Ham Radio Deluxe suite, and it's reporting them back. Let me give you a quick example. Looking at the list of things here, or the issues list, it's showing that over the course of the last 24 hours, really since we released this latest version, that there have been about 1,600 people launch rig control, about 1,400 people launch Logbook, and you can see the other ones here. Over here it says no error messages. All this really means is that the first 5 things you see here for DM780, Logbook, rig control, rotator, and sat track and mapper, 6 I guess, is that there's a lot of people using these apps and there's not a lot of errors coming in. Now there are 2 that I saw down here that have been reported over the last 24 hours. And we can see over here that they're already assigned, which is good. And we'll have them that's why we're doing releases occasionally, because when something comes up, that's how it gets reported. But here's the key. If this is the number of users, understand that this is the number of users that have experienced an error. So in SatTrack, there's been 1 error and it's happened twice. In Logbook, there's 2 errors that have happened twice. We'll go through that and resolve them. So that's point number 1. Point number 2 is that we're using AI for code review, specifically Claude. And I think a lot of people read this part and must have concluded that, oh, well, Dr. Carper's fired all the developers and he's using AI to write the code. I didn't say that. Specifically, I said we're using it as part of our code review process. So the interesting thing is that when writing code, it's a good practice to do code reviews where you have a peer of the developer who reviews the developer's code to make sure that there aren't any mistakes in it or something like that. And that's been going on for decades, really. I guess probably since punch cards existed. I don't know. I wasn't around at that point. But it's a common practice in software development. So what we've done over the course of this latest release is we're using AI to do code reviews. Now, I don't write any code. The world is a better place because I don't write code, to be honest with you. But I am obtaining the code. I run it through Claude, and it's able, because I understand what the software should do, I'm able to describe this to Claude, have it review the code. Claude looks at this version versus the last version, is able to tell what changed, understand why it changed, and understand whether there are problems with those changes before we actually build it into even a beta release or a beta build. So this has been exceptionally helpful, and it's really important. So why are these two things important? I probably could have said that instead of saying AI-assisted development, really I should have said AI-assisted code review. But I guess it's one of the downsides to being an engineer. That kind of means that I don't communicate well, right? I think that engineers have a reputation for just not being good communicators. So when I say something, I think other people would just obviously understand what I meant by what I said, and that's not always the case. So the 2 takeaways about this are that number 1, it enables us to improve the quality of our software. And number 2, it enables us to increase the pace of product development. For all of the people who have bought the software, For all the people who've supported Ham Radio Deluxe over the years and continue doing that, thank you, by the way. These are the two important takeaways, because over time, I'll admit that it's taken us too long to get things done. It hasn't always met my expectations for quality. So this is what we're doing to improve the quality and increase the speed at which we can get things done. Okay, to go on with the release announcement, this part is basically about we rewrote the label printing. It's really, really good now. And the nice thing about it is that it just does exactly what your Windows printer intended for it to do. Let me give you an example. Okay, if I pull up, Microsoft's printers and scanners, it shows me my Brother printer up here. It's showing offline. Let me turn it on real quick. Nice feature in those. They just power themselves off when they haven't been doing any work. But if I go into the Brother label printer, I can see, the options here. I'm going to go into label printing preferences. And this is where I tell the printer what kind of label I've got, whether I want it portrait or landscape. This one here where it says quality is really important. You have a choice between quality or speed. And I have found that the speed setting causes the labels, regardless of whose software you're using, frankly, causes the labels to look a little blurry. So I use the quality function there. Anyway, that's what you need to do. And then when you're in the label printing program, all you do is click print and the label pops out and it looks great. Also printing on sheets and all that kind of stuff. It's all good. There's a video in the newsletter. You can click this and it'll take you to the YouTube channel where you can see that. And as I mentioned here, strongly recommend people get on this version. There's also some software activation key issues that affected, I don't know, probably one or two in 1,000 people, where some odd characters in their computer ID or spaces in their computer ID prevented them from doing an activation or with their key. So that's resolved. So we're going to move on really as best we can to finishing the rewrites of rig control and digital master rotor control and satellite tracking. That work's already underway. One of the things that we've done within rig control is pull the commands out of code. They live external to code in files that we can update without doing a release, which is really cool. Also really excited to have Ira Chavez join us. This is me and Ira at Dayton this year. Ira is, I want to say Ira is a bit of a celebrity. He's a very humble guy, but he wrote the first logging program for Windows called Log Windows back in the late 80s. I actually used it up until 2012, probably. Took me a while to kind of, once we bought Ham Radio Deluxe, it took me a bit to get moved over, just because I was pretty well stuck on Log Windows because it was good work. So we're happy to have Ira here, and he's already helped me find some things, so it's good to have him around. So that's the update for today. I hope it improved the quality of understanding what I said, and we'll continue to get these videos and newsletters out to you guys. We're going to continue doing software releases as quickly as we get work done. There's no reason for us to hold the work until some point down the line when we get things done and have eliminated errors off of Sentry or have improved something with an enhancement. That's what we're going to do. So I appreciate your patience, and thanks for listening. I'm Mike, WA9PIE 73.